I have to add. I'll pledge allegiance. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right now, I have to add the new business. 6 would be conservation. And 7 would be planning board. Planning board? Yeah. Any other additions? Being none, can I get approval for the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as it's written.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Announcements. Public participation policy applies to all selectmen's meetings. A copy of it is on the back of each agenda posted in this meeting room and on the website. Public input. Seeing none. East Dalton Fire Association's donation approval.
Good evening. My name is Lael Paulson, Vice President of the East Dalton Fire Association. We're here seeking approval to make a donation to the Town of Alton Social Services Department in excess of $10,000. And if you'll allow me, let me just read a statement that Sylvia Leggett, the president, was going to make this past Monday evening. The East Dalton Fire Association was established in 1973 with concern for the safety of the residents of East Dalton, and has evolved over the years. A review of the history of our association shows the community spirit that inspired a group of individuals to organize, fundraise, and then bring to fruition the dream of the East Dalton Fire Station, giving all of us in the community the safety of this station. Today, our station is fully supported by the town. Our community spirit has continued over the years and has included donations to families suffering loss through fire, scholarships, and monetary support for those in need in Alton. The association even installed a time capsule here at the town hall to celebrate the 200th anniversary of the town. In this, our 48th year, the East Dalton Fire Association Board of Directors made the hard decision that the need no longer exists for our association as it did back in 1973 and in the ensuing years. The Board of Directors voted to dissolve the association on September 9th, 2021, at our annual meeting held on October 23rd, 2021. The membership voted unanimously to dissolve the association and to also approve the plan of dissolution presented by the board. That plan required that upon dissolution, that 40% of the remaining assets be distributed to the Town of Alton Social Services Department. The membership voted to refine the donation as follows. In memory of Irving and Jean Roberts, the East Alton Fire Association would like to donate 40% of our remaining assets to the Town of Alton for the general support of Alton residents in need, especially those who do not qualify for welfare. Additionally, as a condition of acceptance, up to $2,000 of the donated amount will be made available each year until this memoriam of Irving and Jean Roberts fund is depleted. Pending approval of the donation, we expect to have approximately $20,000 after the final liabilities are paid. And so we're requesting approval to make that donation. I can't tell you exactly when those monies are going to be available. We're hoping that everything will be taken care of by the end of the year.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chairman, make a motion to accept the gift from the East Alton Fire Association.
Second.
No price on that.
Well, they haven't got the final figure.
Okay, whatever. Right now, it's as of 10,000. Could be excess of
We're
10,000.
expecting approximately 20,000.
For discussion.
I'll second it.
Brock already.
Brock
did.
already second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
for that.
Where do we go from here? Do we wait to get a letter from you folks, or once we have the funds available?
Town administrator should get a letter out to you that we accepted the donation tonight in excess of $10,000. And then it'll be for you folks to come back to the town.
All right, very good.
And we gotta have a public hearing on it. So we
Yes.
gotta,
All right,
schedule a public hearing and
I
stuff.
will leave Sylvia Leggett's address. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to new business. Assessing Department, MS1 figures approved.
Good evening. Record, Rob Jutton, Town Assessor, with Steve Hamilton, Contract Assessor, here to present the board with the 2021 MS1 at the conclusion of the 2021 revaluation.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'm going to take my
You
mask
sure
down.
can,
Is that
sir.
fine? Okay. Good evening. Again, Steve Hamilton with Whitney Consulting Group. It's been our pleasure to be serving the town to conduct the revaluation over the last approximately 10 months. And the MS1 report is the culmination of that work and the summary of the values which have been determined. I'll just go through a little bit of the process to give you some background on what we've done and what we've determined for the values of property. We've examined 304 sales that occurred in a period between April 1st of 2019 and March 31st of 2021. Of those, 156 of those were residential properties not associated with waterfront activities. 58 of them were direct waterfront property sales. 53 were water access sales. 25 were manufactured housing sales. 3 were commercial and industrial sales. And 9 were multiple houses on a single lot. And so that's the amount or volume of sales activity that we had to analyze the market influences from. The waterfront properties break down to 36 properties on Lake Winnipesaukee itself, 13 properties that sold that were located on the islands, 5 that were located on Sunset Lake, and 3 that were located on Half Moon Lake. Overall, about a third of the sales that occurred were properties with water influence, either waterfront or water access. 169 of those sales occurred in the second year of that analysis. So between April 1st of 2020 and March 31st of 2021. In a mass appraisal, we break down the sales that occur into the value indicated by the land and the buildings. Those different elements get entered into tables, and then the individual property assessments are calculated based on the inputs into the valuation table. So that way, the treatment of the value of property occurs in a manner which is proportional to all of the properties that have similar influence factors. The goal is to achieve a market value indication. Overall, the assessed value of all of the property in the town is now at just under $2.2 billion, $2,183,117,632. That's an increase of about $411.3 million over the last revaluation, which was at a little bit under $1.8 billion. So it's a significant increase in the value. Those increases have occurred in both land because of the scarcity and demand for housing, but also in buildings because of the increased construction costs that have occurred over the last, especially year and a half or 2 years. Residential buildings and residential land went up considerably in value. The total increase within the community is between 22 and 24%. But it's a little bit different depending on the characteristics of each individual property. So there will be some that go up considerably more than that. Others will more or less stay the same. Building value increases include things like new construction and renovation. So if we look at an increase of building value for the residential property of, I think, let me see, about 12% increase in value just in the buildings themselves. That includes the construction of new homes, new properties, and the renovation of existing property stock. Land values, similarly, they include the subdivision and conversion of a vacant or unused land into developments and new properties. Overall, waterfront property is a significant driver of the value. I think we all know that and can sense that. There are about 892 properties that make up the property that is located principally on Lake Winnipesaukee. Of those 892 properties, that represents about 46.6% of the value of the entire town. And those 892 properties are over $1 billion in the value that was estimated. Of those properties, the waterfront properties, the median increase in the waterfront values for those properties was about 20.5%. And of those 892 properties, only 72%, 72 of the properties went down. So that's about 8% of the properties that had some decrease. Now, properties will decrease in value in relation to the prior revaluation result for a number of different property-specific reasons. One of them could be an estimate of the value previously, which couldn't be supported in the new valuation analysis. Other things happen, like subdivision of land that will create a smaller property to value. But again, overall, the increase in value is significant, and it's distributed across almost every class of property in the town. And I'm happy to answer any questions that I might.
You were saying, sir, about the lakefront property represents about 46% the total evaluation.
46.6.
So that's gone down over the years.
Pardon me?
That's gone down over the years then. Years ago, in the 90s, when we started doing these reevaluations, 75% of the valuation came from Lake Winnipesaukee. So you're saying, what you're saying to me to this day is that that number is dropping, that the residential areas in town are worth more than what the lakefront property is.
They are worth slightly more than what the lakefront properties are, but not because the lakefront properties are dropping in value, but because the residential property has grown. The
Correct.
base of residential property has grown, and the value of those non-waterfront properties has grown significantly.
But you just said in your last part of the statements that a lot of those valuations on the lakefront had dropped.
No, I
The
think
last
I
time.
said 8% had some reduction from the prior estimate. 92% of them increased, and the median increase in value for the waterfront property was 20.5%. And I don't have the basis to look back to how It might have played out in terms of the balance between waterfront and non-waterfront 25 years ago or 30 years ago.
As Rob had told us earlier in the year, the larger the house, especially on the lakefront, the less the square footage was as appraising it or assessing it. Is that correct?
Well, so, I mean, there is a point of diminishing return. So you can get to a point where you might have a super improvement, a super adequacy in a property that might be constructed. Those are factors that we have to recognize from a valuation standpoint. Because in the end, this is about value and not cost. And so the easiest way for us as appraisers to explain that is to look at an in-ground swimming pool. That's an item of significant cost. It may cost you $25,000 or even $50,000 to put in a nice pool. When you go to sell your property, it's highly unlikely that you're going to get rewarded that amount in additional value. Because while that has value to you intrinsically, it doesn't have the same kind of value in the marketplace extrinsically or to an outsider who's buying it. The best example I have of that is a house that's not too far from my home, where a house with a very, very nice level lot, flat, perfect for a pool, had a pool. The person bought the house. The first thing they did was had somebody come in and dig the pool out and level the lawn. 3 years later, they turned around and sold the house to somebody who looked at the nice flat lawn and said, that'd be a great place for a pool. And the first thing they did was put a pool in. And so some things which you can spend money on, which is an item of cost that's related to a house, won't return that same value because the market doesn't react dollar for dollar for cost.
Thank you.
Many of the details in the report are going to be about things which have been done historically, the way that properties have been assessed, and they have to be reported in a certain manner. And so if you look into the deeper pages, most of the relevant information is on page 2 and page 3, which outlines the utility valuation. But page 4 will go through and break down the number of veterans tax credits which are granted, the types of credits which are available, and the amount of the benefit for each person who might qualify, the income and asset limits for things like the disabled and elderly exemptions that are granted, and the impact of those exemptions, because those in effect have to reduce the amount of value which is available when setting the tax rate. Because the things like the elderly exemption which get granted, that's a burden that slightly increases everyone's tax burden to give those elderly exemptions out. And then it just goes through a series of questions about special valuation programs and exemption programs that might be adopted in some communities. And there's a good summary on page 5 of the breakdown of current use land. Current use is the special assessment program in New Hampshire, which allows property owners for a dedication to the conservation of open space, dramatically reduced tax assessment. And so that's another factor which, if you look back historically, the current use program became law in the 1970s. And so from that point forward, more and more property was dedicated to open space and became taxed at a much lower value. So that's another impact that looking at the changing value through time could have. In terms of process, This document is prepared and ready to go forward into the tax rate setting process. In setting the tax rate for the town, the Department of Revenue Administration in Concord will take the amount of money which has been voted to be raised, net of any revenue that's flowing to the town, and divide it by the value of all of the property. So importantly, this document will set the foundation for the tax rate. The increased values will directly impact the tax rate. In the case of this new value estimate, will be a significant reduction in the tax rate.
To get your evaluation for Alton and your forms here, how many towns again were your tax assessment done as a whole to get your figures besides just Alton?
So this is based on market activity within the town of Alton.
Strictly, but
Strictly.
nothing else is based by any other surrounding towns or anything like that, just strictly.
This
Like,
is an analysis of the market
Mhm.
for properties within Alton.
No, I understand.
Very
For
localized.
just strictly localized, but you don't do anything for as far as extensive to other towns surrounding areas.
To other
It's not,
towns and stuff, is that what you're asking?
that's what I'm asking. It's not an assessment that's widely used as far as other towns to assess the generalized area as opposed to just the single town.
That's a great question. It's an important question. For my company, we do valuation work in a number of communities, but they're all distinct. And we value the property in Alton based on the sales of property in Alton. We value the property in Molten Borough based on the sales of property in Molten Borough. We value the property in Laconia based on the sales of property in Laconia. So there's
Well,
no,
it's individualized to each town.
it's because
You don't overlap.
Yeah.
It's strictly for each town, your
it's
assessments are
it's an
different.
old joke, but the three most important words in real estate we know,
Mhm.
it's location, location,
Yes.
location.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
we want to have that common element. And importantly, because of the resulting tax burden, because the tax burden on a property has an influence on what the buyers are willing to pay for a property. Most buyers will go into a transaction not looking at a top line, how much money am I going to spend? They're looking more at a bottom line, how much money am I going to spend every month making the payment of principal, interest, and taxes. And so taxes does have an influence on the value of property.
So this is why we didn't see businesses, commercial buildings or commercial businesses increase. They only increased them very little.
So commercial property is definitely different than residential
Correct.
property because commercial property owners, they're not motivated by emotion. They're motivated by black and white, paper, spreadsheet. What am I going to make? How much am I going to make? What's the risk that I'm not going to make that money? Those are the things that a commercial property owner is thinking about. If all I knew about residential real estate is what I learned from sitting on the couch next to Mrs. Hamilton, I know that buyers of residential properties don't sit down with a spreadsheet because watching HGTV with her for a long period of time, I've realized that buyers just walk in and fall in love with a house, and that's the house that they need to have. And that, I think, is in part a compelling argument for what's been happening in the real estate market, the residential real estate market generally. We hear, we've heard, we've had hearings with hundreds of people who have come to give us information about their property and ask questions about the process. Rob and I have heard a lot of them say, well, that sale is crazy. Or another sale over here is crazy. Well, when they're all that way, then it's really not crazy. It's an expression of the demand. And the demand for residential property, especially in a community with a very favorable tax rate, is pretty significant, and it doesn't seem to be going away. Just in testing the results of our value against what's been happening in the marketplace since April 1st of 2021, there's nothing that we're seeing which causes us to think our values are too high. If anything, the increases in value seem to be continuing unabated.
That's an absolutely true statement. I see the deeds every Monday and every week there's another jaw dropper. I can't believe how much people are paying for properties right now. But unfortunately, we can't analyze that part of the market. All we can do is look at the sales, try to find the trend line between what's the building value, what's the land value. We don't go on the high end or the low end. We try to go right down the middle, but we're trying to make it fair and uniformly prepared for every property. So.
And a good way to think of it is our goal is to try and measure the level of the ocean, not by looking at the tops of the waves or by the bottoms of the waves. So we're just trying to strike it in the middle of all of those things. But some of the peaks of those waves are unusually high at this moment.
Chairman, we need a motion for this. I'll make the motion that we accept the 2021 MS1 as written.
I'll second it.
For discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 The copy that needs to be signed, please, is the one that Chairman has. Thank you. It has
Right
my
back to
signature
Rob.
at the bottom.
Don't go anywhere.
Oh, I'm not
I
going.
got a question for you.
Absolutely.
We're done this.
Yep.
The meetings on this.
Mhm.
I'm getting calls from people that have been trying to set up meetings and they're being told from the secretary downstairs that you can't do it. It's already gone by and they were here. You stopped on November 1st and they were in here November 1st and said they were told they couldn't do a meeting.
I've met with hundreds of people since then, and I'll meet with anybody on their property value at any time they want to come see me. My office is open 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. I have met with, we did 300 and change in hearings in here. And since then, I've not had either someone on my phone or in my office every hour of every day from the last day of our hearings to this very day. And I will continue to do so every single day until every person is satisfied with the answer
Call
they
them and
get.
let them know.
Absolutely. And
They called
if
the-
you speak to anyone who's come in to see me, they'll tell you. I'm
they spoke to the
listening
secretary,
and I'm
I
helping.
guess, two different people.
Understood. I can tell you that the only information that's given right now is that we cannot schedule another informal hearing because the informal hearing date has already passed, but you can come in and talk to me anytime. And she's transferring calls to me. I'm
How
telling
long-
you, I've not had the
How
phone or
long did we
person in
set up
front
for
of me.
the informal?
Informal hearings went from Wednesday, October 27th until Tuesday, November the 2nd.
It was only a few, it was only 5
I
days.
got my letter.
That was the period of time. And in order, we were working against a back deadline. In other words, we have to get a tax rate set so that the taxes come due within the calendar year or it messes up everybody's federal
Population of
taxes.
5,500.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody should have had a right to come in for the hearing.
They always have the right to come in, whether they were able to schedule in the hearing or not. I can't.
Well, that's what I'm saying is they tried to schedule and they were turned down. And that was before the deadline of it.
We scheduled people right up to the last day, to the last hour, literally the last minute of the last hour of scheduling, which was scheduling went till the Tuesday before.
I know, and these people come in
Mhm.
and they were told they couldn't schedule one.
If
Came into the office and they were told downstairs they could not schedule the meeting.
I can't, do you, well, I can't speak to that
That's why
specifically.
I'm asking. Because
All I can tell you is that as far as I can tell, and I was on the phone nonstop for 2 weeks. I scheduled every single person. I met with people literally on the phone that couldn't make it to appointments. We've done everything we can to accommodate everyone. And I continue to do exactly that to this day. And anyone, I urge, and on the record, I urge any citizen who has a question or concern about their assessment to please come talk to me because we're listening.
Mr. Chairman, another thing I want to add to that, what Rob said, they were trying to get as many done as they can so people wouldn't have to file for abatements, which can be costly to the town because of the interest. So I do know he did put that out to everyone that he's talked to. So I'll back him up on that.
Well, I know, like my letter, I received mine on the 1st.
Yep. Unfortunately,
Which time?
we sent them out on October 15th, and unfortunately, I can't answer for the US Postal Service. I can just say,
Right.
we did everything. I put as many notices up on the website. I have I did everything I can, short of physically knocking on everybody's door and saying, please, can we talk about your assessment right now?
As long as
Because
they
there's
can
only
still
one
come
of
in
me.
and discuss. it.
Oh, they can. Literally, like I said, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. Come talk to me, please. I want an educated tax base is my best friend.
Right.
Come talk to me about your assessment. I mean it. Come talk to me.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of
Yes.
the board, thank you so much.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Hard work.
Thank
We're
you.
gonna do it. It should be all signed for you now, Rob.
It is all signed and hopefully
Yeah,
within
okay.
2 days, we will have a tax rate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Next is Highway Department, Public Works, pavement condition and sign assessment. Asset management software. Seems like he just wants everything, he just never goes away.
There's always something more.
We're not done yet. I like coming to see you. I really do. So if you have any questions, I put together the memo. Basically, what this will do, this will allow us to have a baseline asset management, pavement condition assessment. It also will capture signs as well during this assessment because it is a photographic assessment that's done at the same time. So we'll be able to have that. I have also discussed with them a little bit, and we're going to see how much it does actually capture. Talked a little bit about it. They have done a little bit of it, but haven't done a lot of it. And trying to see what they actually capture. They do capture information on the road surface condition, of course, and then how much of that we would be able to utilize some of what it might pick up on any of the water information there to help with Courtney's program that she has there as far as trying to dovetail some of that information and some of those curb stops that might be within the roadway itself. But as you all know, some of the curb stops aren't in the roadway. They're beyond the roadway limits and then sidewalks and such. So it's not as detailed, of course, as it would be for just the road surface side of things here. I am proposing in this recommendation that I feel that based upon the monies that are remaining within the highway operating budget, that there will be adequate funds that would be able to support this. I have done a fair amount of negotiating with this company, and the reason for focusing on this company once again is this is a company that currently we already have supported software with for the town under our building and code enforcement side of things for the iWork system. So this GIS information will be able to be dumped into that program itself and then be able to be utilized not only by the Public Works Department, but also along with that, the information from code enforcement as well. So versus having another type of software, the idea is to try to centralize the software and not have a bunch of different ones that don't talk to each other.
How does that cost every year? To a year?
No, so this
One time.
initial cost is an initial overview cost, and then whether we decide every 3 or every 5 years to do what we call an update or a windshield survey, you wouldn't necessarily need to do the complete unless unless we opted to do that. But my experience in the past has been with other similar type softwares is that you're able to do an actual, what they call a windshield or an assessment based upon the condition. In other words, there's condition factors that you can add in there and make the adjustments within the software. So if you have a road, for an example, that is either graying or has additional cracking, whether it be longitudinal or lateral cracking in it or alligator cracking, you would make that change within the assessment to bump that up. You wouldn't, in that situation, you would not have the photography part of it as far as the photo of it. But once again, that is the additional cost and expense of this on the baseline part of this. I have a call into a town in Connecticut. I just haven't heard, we've been playing phone tag and haven't heard back from them because I wanted to find out, they've had this software for a bit now to find out how they've done their reoccurrence. Some towns look at it and they do the windshield surveys every 3 to 5 years, and then every 10 years they look doing a complete in-camera type survey where they actually do the photography end of it. Something that can be built into the capital plan overall so that you can, build that into similar to what in your CRF type planning. So you know what the cost will be for long-term.
What's the yearly rate on it?
The yearly maintenance on this one is with the iWork system. We'll be looking at initially to set that up, which is in this 2022 budget, is $7,000. And then on the maintenance side, so that will be continuing to maintain on that side of it itself. And then on the annual that ends up happening, basically everything through the iWork will take care of doing the work that we end up doing, because once these people do their thing, then it comes on to us. So anything that we do as far as work orders, if we do any type of treatment to the road, repaving it, crack sealing, we enter that data into the system itself. And then that changes the pavement condition index of it. So basically it's a scorecard that you're looking for. So whether or not your roads are, B- roads, B+, A's, whatever it may be, then the scorecard is shuffled up and down based upon the type of work that you end up doing to your road infrastructure. So if you do, I'm just going to throw this out, you do $1 million worth of work to your roads every year, we would enter that data into the asset management portion of this. And then that will reshuffle the deck and tell you what your overall town-wide pavement condition index will be. And you actually can work with this software to be able to try to hopefully predict what your number is, whether it's, you need to spend 1.2 or whatever it is a year in order to keep your roads at that, roughly that constant. I'm just going to say it's a 80 PCI or a 77. Most roads that I've found in the communities that I've worked in, both in Moulton Borough and in New Durham, are great on two different ends of the spectrum, two different tax bases, two different mileages that way. And with that, I found that the pavement condition index has been in that 70, about 75 to 78 on the PCI scale. There's been years, and when I was in Moulton Borough over the 7-year period, that we were able to bump up. We hit 82 one year, put a considerable amount of work into pavement preservation. So we did a lot of pavement overlays, and also did, we of course started crack sealing as well. That had not been aggressively done. And we also did asphalt, rubber, and chip sealing overall. So that changes that pavement condition index quite a bit when you preserve the good roads going forward. The reconstruction, if you spend $1 million on a reconstruction of one road, you will see your pavement condition index, even though you just spent $1 million, go down, because it's your overall town-wide network. It's not just that road. That road will in fact be a great road. Don't get me wrong, because you rebuilt it or rehabbed it. Just to give a little
You
bit
didn't answer my question though.
as to how much it's going to cost every year.
What cost of this?
Yeah. So on the annual side of things, I expect that it'll cost to to do the whole software package that we're going to be taking into effect for 2022, the $7,000 per year. It's a cloud-based system, so we don't have to actually keep it in-house. So it will be 7,000 a year.
Yes.
In the event of termination by either party.
Yep.
The backup information is readily available. And that is something that's paid for and kept by the town, correct?
Right. So the way I read this is we're able to, even though it's kept in the cloud, we're able to download a lot of that data. So we would have it. The difficult part is that if we separate from the software itself, we won't be able to continue to build upon it and work within it.
Mhm.
So you'll get the raw data, but you don't have the ability to manipulate it,
Use
if you want to call
But
it.
you would be able to retain the information and data that you've put into it up to that date.
That's the way I understand it.
Yeah, it does.
You won't lose that. In
Right.
other words, if you go all over again and start again, it starts from square one. Yet that information would be retained.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, the baseline data, I mean, that's what you're really paying, that's what you're paying this nugget for, is that, you know, so that is something that you've bought, even though it's kept in the cloud.
How many towns are you familiar with that have been actually switching over to this?
So there's lots of towns that use what they call RSMS, which is Road Surface Management Systems. And to be honest with you, the New Hampshire DOT manages a site in New Hampshire that does that. The regional planning commissions are subscribers to that. So if you're a member of a regional planning commission, you can be part of that. So if in fact, for an example, it would cost approximately $25,000. We're not a member here in Alton of a regional planning commission.
Mhm.
So my understanding is that the cost would be approximately $25,000 for us to work through an independent contractor in order to facilitate that to happen through the New Hampshire DOT software. To be honest with you, this, from what I see, because we get photographic images with this, is a better bang for your buck. And I've operated in both softwares, and I've also operated within RSMS. They call it RSMS 11, which is actually a software out of the state of Maine. Maine DOT basically did the same type of system that New Hampshire did. And I've worked through different versions of the system in New Hampshire.
Mhm.
So in New Hampshire, you get a scorecard, just like the pavement condition index. So that's just how that ends up working. But as far as the actual capture of data on this one, there is no other New Hampshire town that I found that uses this software. The closest one actually is in Connecticut. They do a lot across the country with many different different municipalities that way. But on the East Coast here, the closest one to New England, as a New England town, is in fact in Connecticut. There is, you've probably seen it, advertisements, or you've probably seen Street Scan, very popular as well. And they use a robotic type car type of device to do that. A lot of money. It's well in excess of 25,000 to, I mean, some of the quotes that I've seen have been upwards of 40 to 50,000 in order to do that. But it's all based upon what type of information you're trying to gather. I was trying to find something that married up to what the town already has in their locker, so to speak.
Mhm.
So the information that the building department actually will put into the GIS system, they can actually be able to do that. I mean, the data that we share right now between the building department and the Public Works Department is really is driveways, mainly in that, and subdivision information. But he'll have that ability to look at that and see what's happening in that area. As we do driveways and approved driveways, that can be noted on there and will be pinned on there. We would also hope that with that GIS system, that as we expand upon other things like we've talked about, we actually have received that grant with the New Hampshire DES to document our stormwater and culverts, that we'll be able to add that GIS layer into this program as well. So,
Question for you.
yes,
Paying all this money to set this up.
Yep.
In their agreement here, customer may request a copy of all customers' data for the cost of $2,500.
Right.
We're paying them to set it up, then we gotta pay them to get what we're putting in there?
that's what they have. They hold the data. And in order for you to get it actually put into a format that you can actually take it and use it and access it, that's what they
2,500.
they charge you 25.
Are we not part of Belknap Regional Planning?
No,
No.
town hall.
Once you start, you can't cancel it for 3 years.
Because I get the same program you got through Stratford and it's
Right.
a lot cheaper than that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. When I was in New Durham, I mean, we didn't have to pay for it.
Right, I didn't pay for any of it.
Because we were one of the beta
Mhm.
sites, which I'm guessing that you probably were as well in Wakefield. So they select, New Hampshire DOT gives money to the regional planning commissions to be able to take on X amount of towns within their catchment area. If they don't have enough people or you don't make that cut, then you can work that through them. They hire people to do it. I did one version of that, no cost in New Durham. Second update, which was, I think at year 3, we did that second update and it was $5,000 or 4,900 and
Right.
change. So they have summer interns that come in, they go out and do the data collection and put it into the system itself.
And they just did my culvert layers too, and it was similar to that. It was, I think in total, I think it was like 6,500 altogether for the culverts, the asphalt, the whole works.
Yeah.
So,
With that, I mean, with that in mind, just a couple things that you don't get with it is like I mentioned about the photographic aspect of it.
Mhm.
The other thing is that when you do any of the work with the system itself, you don't do any of that yourself. You work that through the regional planning commission. So, you meet up and make an appointment with them. They generate the reports. They actually operate within the software itself. You don't do any of that. We would actually be able to operate within the software here and be able to do some of the forecasting by using the software. Which that's how it was years ago. But once again, when DOT took the software over from UNH, from the Technology Transfer Center, they wanted to be able to control the software. So, and they are the host site of it. It's very similar to like the situation that people are the host site.
So these other costs, the one-time setup, GIS integration, data conservation fees is a $500 there. There's another $500 on that's, I would assume, on top of the initial one-time fee of 19,200. That just,
Right. As you can see, under the package price here, that's all included in the $19,200.
below it, the one below it, the 505, that's included in the 19.
That's correct. You see how they cross that out. Once again, that was a couple
Yep.
negotiations,
Yes, I see it here.
which is about $3,500
Making sure.
that we were able to negotiate off of that.
And after that is, would you say $7,000 a
Right.
year?
That's
thereafter?
part of a bigger piece of the software because we'll actually have a reporting software that will allow us to take all of our work orders, and as we do those, they'll be entered into it. So that'll all be pinned on this system and networked into the system. So for an example, if somebody should ask, how much work's been done on Bay Hill, how many times did you go up there and do anything on Bay Hill? You'll be able to generate a report on that and be able to report out as to how many times you were up there and for what purposes. We'll be able to categorize it and put it all in there. Plus it'll be able to pinpoint. So if you keep having the same problem spot, and you get, 5 pins all in the same spot, you could say, why are we already, maybe it's a pothole for an example. It gets reported and you're up there filling it 5 times. Well, it might be time to then saw cut it out and actually put a patch in there and fix it right. So you don't have to go back up 5 or 6 times. Right now, unless you pull the folder that we have with our paperwork orders, you don't have that ability to, other than institutionally knowledge.
Oh, I think it's a great concept. And it's future planning. On our roads. I have no problem with Mr. Chairman, but I like to see him encumber the 19,000, but put it out to bid. Starting to do a lot of projects and we're going away from our town policy. We're not putting things out to bid. We're going and getting quotes. Town policy says, I believe it's over $5,000. We need to go out and go out to bid.
Yeah.
I have no problem encumbering that money if this was the way we're going, but I still would like to see it go out to bid. See if we can get the best value for the dollar, not just take what we've gone out and got quotes on. Is
I
that
can
a
agree with
problem
that.
going out to bid with this?
I mean, I don't see that, there's never a problem to go out to bid on anything other than for the mere fact is that you may miss out. And you may, in this situation here, the only reason why I focused on this software was just because of its interconnectivity with what we have here now. So that's the main purpose. Certainly we can put it out, we can utilize this. We could ask for people that would be able to, as you can see in one of the bullet points here, it says, a complete data set entered into the iWork pavement management application. We could ask for that to be part of that. I'm not sure how many other vendors have that ability, but I don't know that either. So, I mean, certainly we can certainly put that out. I can tell you that these discounts that I've been able to try to finagle here, most likely will not be included in a bid, but once again, I'm not sure of that. They may use that as an ability to sharpen a pencil. I don't know that. It's just been because of the dialogue that we've had. And I've cried a little bit of poverty, that's all.
I don't have an issue with it. My only issue is that we can get most of this for free through the Regional Planning Commission. We're gonna spend 30 grand on something we could have got for nothing if we would have just been on the Regional Planning Commission with every other town in the state.
We would have to put a warrant article forward to.
I understand that, but you're getting ready to drop 30 grand on something we could have got for nothing.
Well, that's doesn't fall back just to the warrant article. Planning board hasn't even positioned themselves to the town, to the selectmen to ask to rejoin the planning commission. And that's the reason out of it.
Gotcha.
Because we had a selectman that didn't like Blake's regional plan.
Well, it took
The warrant article and it happened to pass.
it took more than a selectman to get us out of there. It took a majority at a town meeting. They felt that the majority of the people that voted for that felt that the planning commission in this area was going in the wrong direction. And I kind of had to agree with them at that time, because a lot of times Alton missed out on a lot that Laconia got, Meredith got. And that was one of the reasons we got out of it.
That's not the commission. That's the town not following up with the commission.
Well, I think it was also a lot of politics in that, sir. I disagree
worked
you
with
on
that commission for years with the planning board. And we used it a lot. And I said it when we were going through that with the warrant article.
We did use it a lot, but when a lot of programs came up and there was state and federal money available, Alton lost out on a lot of it too, because we didn't meet the criteria because of our population. Meredith got it, Laconia got it. That's where most of the money is spent when it comes in from state and federal up there.
How long ago was it that we were a member?
2 years now.
How many?
2, I think, 2 or 3
I
years.
believe it's going on 3, possibly 4 now. Yep.
Yeah, what's difficult,
look
I mean,
into it
my
again?
experience has been with the regional planning commissions. I've worked only with 2 different ones, both Lakes Region and with the Stratford group down there. And I was quite surprised when I went actually to Stratford. I thought it goes to what Selectman Wentworth mentioned about, why, the Rochesters and some of these other places were actually getting what I thought a small town should actually be getting. And come to find out, a lot of it was based upon some of that median income information that ended up happening. You talk about a Laconia and those types of things there. We look at them that they're a city and they should be able to be sustainably able to handle and manage themselves. Well, because of the city makeup, sometimes the median income tends to, coupled with population, tends to sway some of that money. And sometimes it doesn't feel right because it doesn't feel like it's been evenly distributed amongst that. And I was actually surprised when I was in Moultonborough, and, you think about, it's got I listened to you folks earlier, they're 2.2 or roughly billion of assessed property value. When I was in Molten Borough, that's basically, we were about 2.2, 2.3. I understand now it's well up over $3 billion worth of assessed property value. We suffered the same type of information when it came down to like the dispatch, and it came down to some of the other things that happened in the county side of things. But when it came time to actually get a few dollars, the median income actually for Molten Borough, believe it or not, was actually relatively low. Because the people that actually lived there year round were the service people that were landscapers, carpenters, and tradespeople. So, it is a scale that gets tipped back and forth a lot, so.
You gotta understand, this contract is governed by the state of Utah, not by anything we can do. To me, I think it's, if anything, if we're gonna encumber money, we should be sending it up to Jim to look at first. I don't know nothing about the laws in the state of Utah.
Yeah, and my understanding, my experience is that on encumbrance of money is the only way you can actually encumber money is it has to be under contract. So the time, correct me if I'm wrong, Laura, because that's really your thing, but then that was what you would have to do is if we were going to encumber money out of this budget. Now, you may be able to, and once again, you'd want to ask the question, you may be able to do a warrant article that would take some money out of what was be left in the operating budget, which is going to actually be, an unreserved fund balance money, and then allocate it into either a warrant article for a purpose and or put
Well,
it in
that's
your road construction.
Surplus that should go back to the taxpayers.
Right. I mean, some people put it back to the taxpayers and other people use it towards future projects so that you don't have a bump in the road with your budget spikes. It's just two different ways to manage it. And
That's what we did last year on a lot of the warrant articles.
yeah, I mean, that's what in my previous life, I advocated for that type of activity because I think it helps with the peaks and valleys because things come up and things change, unfortunately, and growth spurts. Whichever way the board wishes to proceed, this is an important thing. I do feel that we do need to get some baseline on our roads so that we can forecast, so that I can properly advise you.
$60,000 contract. before you're done with it.
Yeah, I'd like to see it go out to bid.
I think we're all basically in favor.
Well, I think that's the protocol of the town is anything, like Ruben said, anything over 5,000 is supposed to.
Should
go
be.
to bid.
Yes.
And we gotta start, in my opinion, we have to start enforcing.
Yeah.
There were certain circumstances, emergency circumstances
Right.
come up when we don't, and there's a reason why. I don't see the emergency circumstances here on this.
And it's something certainly that to put together a specification and, I've got a boilerplate, you've all seen it. As far as doing our RFPs, as far as putting it out, certainly it could be something that could in fact be done up here in a relatively short amount of time and be able to be back before the end of the year. So you could make a decision if in fact you did wish to enter into a contract and encumber the money.
Laura, the next question, Mr. Chairman, if I can ask Laura, when's the last day you and the town administrator set aside to encumber funds?
It just has to be in December.
By December 31st, correct? I knew it was around the 20th. We did it before the holidays. That's why.
I can tell you I've done it as of the last day of the month. It's not preferred, but just because you have to do it and you have to have the Board of Selectmen is the people that have to. We had a manifest and had to have them come in and actually do an official meeting. So.
You know, if you put it out for 30 days, you can have it back in on the 17th of next month.
Do we have meetings though? I don't think we have another meeting, do we? The 8th? Is it the 8th that we have? The 6th, and that's the last meeting of the month, right? Isn't that what you just said last week?
Say in December.
December.
Just like
But I thought we only had one meeting in December. It has something to do with, because we're doing every 2 weeks.
I don't know.
Should be two.
6th, the
And the 20th,
20th and the
Yeah.
27th.
if you do every other, it'd be the 6th and the 20th.
Yeah, well, there'll be two next month.
Yeah, two.
Okay.
You know, we're going back to every 2
weeks. We're not on every Monday.
We're doing every 2 weeks now?
Yeah, that's what.
Have been, yeah.
That's what we've been doing.
We are.
Since
It
budget
could be
started.
since budget started.
Well, but you've been having a budget meeting on the off Monday, so we've been
Right,
meeting
right.
every
Every
week.
Monday, yeah.
But selectmen every other.
What's the board's wishes?
Chairman, I make a motion to have the Public Works Director go out and look for Public Works one pavement condition sign assessment / assessment management system.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
All right,
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I'll put this on a warrant article.
we talked about that at another meeting. Should be able to encumber those funds if he gets it back in on the 17th, presents it to us.
Yeah, it depends what night it is.
Sounds good.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'll stay with you.
Oh, we still got it here. All right, Water Department, excavator and trailer replacement. Did we decide this?
Good evening. Well, nothing's been decided yet. That's why I'm here.
Well, no, but I see bids and stuff.
There's no bids in this document at all. They're just quotes.
Well, quotes.
So keep in mind, before we purchased the dump truck through Parks and Rec, I was working on my budget based on an equipment replacement for the excavator that I brought to your attention in the spring. When it had a pretty significant failure in April, that put it out of commission and we had to take the cemetery's excavator.
Mhm.
That's when I brought it to you guys' attention. At that point, I started to get nervous. The excavator's 16 years old, and reached out to a person that he works with quite often at Chapel Tractor. Said, this is what I got. You mind coming and taking a look at it? Tell me what it's worth. That's when the process started. So there's a couple things. So I have not gotten quotes, bids, just quotes. And I brought it to your attention based on the past 3 equipment purchases that we did at the water department that were based on quotes alone. We have not had a formal bid. Since I've been here, it was pretty much just the school and Church Street project that we've had a formal bid process. Since that time, we've replaced a well, put in a VFD in Levy Park, and purchased 3 vehicles. So that's why I brought it to you this way. Nothing's etched in stone. I'm only here for information purposes to let you know, where I'd like to head. So I'm looking for your support and direction, whatever way you wish to go, and utilizing the quotes for a lease purchase or putting this out to bid, which is, I have, if that's where you choose to go, I have a document for the invitation to bid for you guys.
Mr. Chairman, Laura, have we put the money back into the water department's revenue account from the money that we talked about that we could get back for the reconstruction?
We have not.
We have not put it back.
We have not approved a final number for that.
So,
So my other question is, Courtney, before you just, so you don't have to keep going any further for me, on your cover letter that you submitted to us.
Yep.
Going across the 3, I stopped at Bobcat because I added up the numbers for Bobcat and your total numbers don't add up. It's 50,309 you got down for the excavator.
Okay.
$10,087 for the trailer. You have it down to 63,948. It should be 60,396. Minus the 22, you come up with 53,000. But it really should be in the neighborhood of about $38,396. I'm reading from your cover letter. I'm
Yep,
Not reading
I
from
may
your
have done it.
proposals.
Yep, no, so the quotation was $49,000 and $49,070 for the excavator itself. There was a performance package for $69.87 on there. And then there's a comfort package is how they break it down with $52.81. and then the bucket. So the total is 62,813.
I know, but I'm going by your cover letter. I'm not going by that because even in there, it's 43,000 from Bobcat
And I may
versus
have,
53.
so I may have done that based on the new piece of equipment. So if you notice, I see the mistake because I did it with the Yanmar as well. I reached out to both of these
Right.
companies back in May, and I think I included that one. I sent these quotes over to you guys on a Friday when I was on the side of the road hunting deer. I got a phone call and realized that you guys didn't have it. I was off. I'm trying to take vacation. I'm actually on today too. So, and I think when you do it by cell phone and you attach things, and I explained this to Laura, sometimes it doesn't send the most recent one. So the numbers on the memo are true to the new quote because the price has gone up, obviously, because it's a later model machine. So it does, the 53,000, I'll make sure I pull it up just to. The memo is the correct quote.
What's the memo?
The cover letter.
Cover
Yeah.
letter, so that is the quick quote.
Yeah.
But we don't have figures that
That match.
justify it.
No, I have them. I just didn't
We-
send
But
them
the
to
Board
you.
of Selectmen does not, correct?
Correct. Yep.
We have 43.
The other thing, Mr. Chairman, she did bring this before us when we were talking about, and I do remember it, and we just talked about it again. I think it was a month ago we talked about it. I have no problem replacing it. Hopefully this time this will get better maintenance because over the period of the years of this excavator did not always have the best maintenance along with the trailer. Because if you remember when we sat there, we put a lot of money back in that trailer, the axles, the brakes. That's why I was surprised to see a new trailer involved, but maybe it's because of the weight of the machine.
It still has holes in the frame. So we redecked it and we did the best we could with aluminum and we
Now,
put
the weight-
some,
The weight of any of these machines, do you know what they are?
they'll all be within the
We're
CDL.
talking
limits.
only a 12,000 pound trailer.
Yeah. So we're all at 11,000 pounds for the machine. So because of the CDL requirement that we need. So everything will keep us under the 26,000.
So if you get 11,000 pound machine on a 20,000 pound trailer, you already have it overloaded because your trailer has a certain weight to it.
It doesn't have a 20,000 pound trailer though.
No, you
No.
just said the equipment was 11,000.
Yep.
The trailer in there, I think there was one for 14 and one for 12,000. That was the Bobcat. That would put it overweight at that point because your trailer's got to weigh at least 2,500, 3,000 pounds. So you got to take your gross vehicle weight with the trailer and the excavator. So you got to make sure you're not bending your axles. And that's what I'd be afraid of if you put any of those pieces of equipment on that 12,000 pound trailer. And I think there was one with 2 7-pound axles that would give you a 14,000 pound gross vehicle weight.
Well, generally, they end up doing those though, even with, in other words, if you buy a 6-ton trailer, that is at 6 tons is what is the amount that you're able to haul on that trailer?
Right. I got a
Correct.
12,000.
So if it's a
100 pound.
12,000 pound trailer, you've got 11,000 pound excavator, you're already overloaded when you put it on it because of the way.
Trailer.
Everything that I spec'd out was within the limits of the CDL requirements.
It doesn't have anything to
that's
do
not
with
what
the
he's talking
CDL.
about.
I'm talking about gross vehicle weight.
Right.
You have 11,000 pound excavator,
Excavator.
okay?
11,700.
You have a 12,000 pound gross vehicle weight trailer. You put the 11,000 pound excavator on that, you're overloaded because your trailer is weighing 3,000 pounds. Now you're at 14,000 pounds. So even though you're trying to spec it out for CDL, you won't be able to with an excavator.
I guess I'm misunderstanding.
Well, this is maybe where we should sit down and go over weights and everything when we go to put this out to bid, because the way you have it bid written right now, the proposal,
Yeah.
your trailer is overloaded.
The 12,100 pound tow capacity trailer doesn't fit
It's
the
overloaded.
excavator
If
that
you,
we're
if
purchasing.
you told me one of those excavators, but you just said, I don't know, it's Yamaha or the cat, even the Caterpillar, let's take the Caterpillar. The Caterpillar weighs almost 12,000 pounds at 305.
Yep.
Got a 12,000 pound trailer, you're already overloaded. Because you have to take the weight of the trailer in consideration. So your
Right.
trailer is weighing 3,000 pounds. You put a 12,000 pound
Take that
excavator
off.
on that, you got
Right,
15,000.
we have a 14,000 pound trailer right now with a 10,000 pound machine.
Okay, 10,000 pound machine, what does your trailer weigh empty?
I think it was 6,000, I think, or
All right, so 10 and 6, you're already overloaded on that trailer. That's why
maybe
the
it's
problem with
12,000.
the
I
axles.
didn't buy that trailer and
I'm
it's all
not saying
worn
you
out,
did.
so,
I'm not asking just by that. What I'm trying to say is, when you look at the excavator, take the weight.
yep.
Right now, you got an
And
excavator
your
with,
trailer weight to it.
you got a 12,000-pound trailer hauling capacity. It weighs 4,000 to 6,000 pounds. So you put 11,000, you're at 17,000 pounds. Now, the only reason I can tell you this, because I went through all this with the DOT with my gooseneck trailers and my small trailer when I had a Caterpillar.
Okay.
Because you got to take the gross vehicle weight. It's just like when I'm loaded, I got to take my pickup weight, my trailer weight, and my freight.
200 pounds more. So the Yanmar is only 200 pounds more than what we have right now. It's just a 50.
Yep.
It's,
And what's the weight of your new trailer you're proposing?
it's a 12,100.
What's the
pound.
weight of the trailer?
Yeah, I don't know.
What's the net weight?
That's not, yeah,
But that's where you have to stop and look, because that's where you're gonna have damages to those axles.
Yeah, I mean, generally, when I've done those specs on a trailer based on the equipment, I haven't actually bought two of them together at the same time. It's usually always been separate, but generally you'd say, this is what I'm hauling. Tell me the trailer that I can use in order to haul it and not be overweight. I mean, I would hate for somebody.
yeah, when I reached out to all of
But
the,
we would make sure.
And all I'm saying is, if you take that 1-ton dump truck you got now, right, which I
Yep.
think has a gross weight of around 18,000,
we're not pulling with that
19.
right
Huh?
now, though. We're not pulling with that right now.
but, well, you should, because you got a dual tire on that, but I'm just saying that's 18,000 pounds gross vehicle weight, correct? You add in your trailer now at 11,000, or just call your trailer to 14,000. Add 14,000, that you're 32,000 pounds. You got to be in the CDL range.
That's why we're towing it with the 350.
But if you got stopped, you'd be overloaded. And it's hurting that 350 because of the axles on it.
Oh, yeah, well, that's, that's why we got
So
it.
you're damaging something so you don't get caught doing something else. Let's get one of those guys certified so you can do that.
Well, one already just
Right.
passed his test. He just has to do the combination vehicle.
But all
and the
we're doing
driving
is
test.
we're damaging our vehicles doing this. But all I'm saying is you got to look at that gross vehicle weight between pickup trailer and your freight or your cargo.
Okay,
And I think maybe in the past, that's what hasn't been happening. And that's why we get the repairs bills that we get.
Right.
I think they're trying to operate without a CDL. originally.
well, we have to,
Yeah.
we have to
They had-
operate
they
and we
had
don't
to.
have a CDL, so.
They
it's-
had
I
to,
mean,
yeah.
Unless the highway department wants to haul it for us every time we have to
Right.
dig.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to see the Alton Water Works go out to bid on a new excavator and trailer for their department. I can't say I'm in favor of paying for it this year. As long as we get the funds put back in the account, there should be no problem. We couldn't pay for it up front because I really hate to see after our trade-in that we go out and lease for 5 years, just pay it and not pay any interest.
And I just had one, if I may, question, just to clarify, on the Yanmar excavator as opposed to the Bobcat, is the only reason why you're suggesting the Yanmar is because of the warranty
The warranty
strictly?
and the warranty and the price. So the 4-year, 4,000-hour warranty
Mhm.
compared to the, I mean, I'm quite frankly, very happy with the Bobcat. We have attachments that can go on that.
Right.
So I'm not, we're not in any
Not
way, shape
sold
or
on it,
form, but more so with the price and the warranty.
Yeah, Bobcat's a good brand.
Got
I just
good
don't know
use out of
much.
this
I don't know
Bobcat.
Yanmar.
Yeah, it's
I
had
don't
it.
know it very well.
I know that they're good with, from experience with speaking with people,
For
their price for
sandbox.
their amount of, the availability for someone to come out and look at it.
Mhm.
They're good for a
But I'm very
sandbox.
happy with the Bobcat.
Yanmar's good for sandbox.
But we also have to be careful of that warranty. What is the warranty? This is the other issue.
Right, and I can get
Right,
that
right.
Yeah, I
information.
mean,
All
you got
that.
4 years, 4,000 hours, and then you get the others with 2 years and 2,000 hours.
Yeah,
Right,
I know
right.
Cat is
Same warranty.
2-year unlimited hours,
Yeah.
but no one else went into specifics. It might be in the specifications as far as what is covered into that, but
I got an issue with putting this stuff out to bid, and I know it's our policy, but you put a piece of equipment out to bid and you have once you get a sealed bid back, that's the price. You can't negotiate that price once it comes back. It's a sealed, yeah, but it's a sealed bid. If you
It's a
can
sealed
say, if you put a number on something and say, this is the number, that you can't exceed for this new machine, now you can negotiate the price on that machine. And with these, and you can tell me that I'm kidding, but I've done it a dozen times and saved thousands of dollars by negotiating the price over. Once you get a sealed bid, if you get 5 sealed bids from 5 different companies, you can't change that. There's no change, there's no going back and saying, well, this guy said he'd do it for 60. Well, you can't do that.
I will
There's
tell,
no
I
negotiating.
will
that
tell you
price.
the confusion with the 2 quotes you guys got before. There was 2 specific different prices and they were pretty drastic but on the Yanmar specifically. When I reached out to them in May, they gave me the price that you got in your memo. They honored that for us. The price went up $20,000. But that's because the Chapel Tractor decided that they weren't going to offer any type of municipal discount anymore because they said these machines are going out cheap enough. We're not going to do that. But they did honor that to get us down to the 56.5. So, you know, the price that you're going to look at if we go to bid for that specifically, that specific machine is going to be, you're looking at about $20,000 more. I will ask that when we put it to bid that the specifics for the Yanmar, the other reason was the trailer. Far too many times I've seen the guys borrow the roller or something else that isn't fit for our trailer that we have right now. The quotes that we've gotten, this is a hydraulic tilt trailer.
It's a gravity tilt, but yeah,
yeah.
same thing.
So the roller has almost gone off the side of it trying to get it up those ramps. So if we specify that in the bid specifications, that was the other deciding factor for going with that package was the trailer and the warranty.
Well, I understand where you're coming from, Brock, because I've been in the same position. I purchased a lot of equipment. And sometimes when you do this bid process, you can actually do better. But the problem is, we have a policy, and the policy reads anything over 5,000.
But the Board of Selectmen can change the policy.
That's right. But the reason for that policy, there's many reasons for it.
Yep.
And I think we all know what they are.
Right.
It's a touchy situation.
I just think as Board of Selectmen members, it's our job to find the best money we can for the town and by putting and I'm not saying big jobs and stuff like that, putting that out. I understand that. But when it comes to buying equipment and trucks and stuff, I don't think we're giving the town the best bang for their buck because we can negotiate these prices, especially being a municipality where they know we're going to pay for it. That you can save a lot of money by negotiating prices on vehicles and equipment. So as far as which equipment it is, I could
Well,
care less.
looking at what the paperwork's been presented to me tonight, I vote no against any one of these because I do not have the true cost figures. I've already have questions about the gross vehicle weight of the trailers and the equipment. I think an RFP needs to go back and put together something a little bit better than what we got here. And put out to bid myself.
Well, we'll put all the base specifications that are all in there for the equipment itself. As you all know, is everybody's a little bit different. So you got to try to write the specifications so that at least it will meet a minimum. So taking into account what you had relative to the trailer, that will be certainly something that would be clearly called out in that specification to make sure that that trailer in fact is adequate in order to be able to haul that at that maximum GVW capacity to make sure we'll be able to handle that.
That's correct. But the other thing I want to stop you there, though, it's not just the equipment. I've seen buckets put on that trailer after the equipment's on there, so you're adding more and more weight.
Yeah, you got to take everything into collectively.
I really think you seriously need a 16 to 18,000 pound trailer to be hauling that excavator to be safely and where you put extra things on it. The way it's been presented tonight with just looking at the cover letter, we need to go back and look at everything again, put it back together, put it out there right. And I'll agree with you on that roller. That roller should never gone up iron ramps because anybody that has operated a roller would have known that could slide right off several times. And I believe on the tilt deck, that's what you should have. But I just think we need to go back and rewrite it and, you maybe have the mechanic look at it and go over it that way.
Yeah. we'll
But I have
definitely-
no problem going out and asking, getting a new excavator at this time.
I think the main purpose, and Courtney and I've talked about it a little bit, is that, first of all, Highway Department has used that excavator since I've been there a lot. And it's been a godsend, but we all realize that it's 15 years old, needs to be replaced. And we want to replace it with the best piece of equipment that's going to get, the best bang for our buck, and also certainly the trailer that's going to haul it.
Yep.
And, Courtney's already taken steps, working with her department, in order to try to, and I've pledged with my people as well to help out any way that we can as far as getting them, their licenses and that kind of stuff to move up the next level for CDL.
Do we know the trade-in value of the old excavator?
22.5,
It's 22,000, yes, right.
which is a good
With the
price for
trailer.
where it sits right now with the trailer.
That's a real good price.
The only thing I would ask
Yeah, I did see that.
Public Works Director, Mr. Chairman, at this point here, we know that they're hauling with the 350, which is a single axle, single tire, correct?
Mhm.
That they stop using that truck because if they do get an accident with that, they're overloaded at that point. So the town would be automatically be responsible.
So what is the,
My suggestion is that
Reconciliation.
you arrange, if you can, with the Public Works Director, have one of their guys come over and drive your 1-ton.
even if it's at 3 a.m, that's,
All I'm saying is if the town gets in an accident, whether it's your fault or not, if it is found out that that truck is overloaded with that 350, the town had no right to be on the road at that point with that truck. We would be at fault no matter what. So the lawsuit would come back on the town. And I just think at this point where I know it as a selectman now is the legality part of it, it should cease. And you should try to get a hold of the Public Works Director, see if he could have one of his drivers bring it to your job site.
How much
that's
is the truck and trailer right now?
the truck and trailer?
Yeah, there you have.
It's an F-350 diesel single. wheel.
Right, but what's the
don't
trailer?
have
It's a
those off my head
14,000
right
pound
now.
trailer
It's a 14,000-pound trailer. That's all I know.
on the back of the F-350, which is not against the law. It's not with an excavator. And I have the.
That
Okay,
F,
for-
that
Hey,
F,
police,
that
right
F,
here.
that F-350 is only rated for 20,000 pound gross vehicle weight. Is that correct?
19.5, I think.
Single axle, single tire is rated for 19. And your Dodge and your Ford or your new Dodge you just got gross vehicle weight is 18,000 with dual tires.
No, 19.5.
19.5. So how is the single axle the same as a dual axle, dual tire?
It doesn't, the difference is, as long as it does not go over 26,000 pounds, it's not against the law.
For the license, yes, but for the vehicle weight, if we get an accident, we knowingly know now that that truck is overloaded with that trailer and excavator on it. You don't need I'm not saying they need a special license for that 350. I'm saying that 350 is overloaded and we knowingly know it.
My question is, and I understand where you're coming from, and I do not want to argue anything. I'll be clear on that. But we have a 2011 F-350 utility truck that is 10 years old. The excavator is a 2005, and it's the same existing trailer, and we're just figuring this out now.
No, I knew it all along and I've said it. And no one stopped it.
Years now.
Okay. And the other question I have is we pay anybody who works for my water department, their rate of pay through the highway department. There are some guys that have get a pretty decent pay over there. So my overtime is going to go up. When I have leaks at 3 o'clock in the morning, that's overtime, time and a half at whatever their rate of pay is, because that is the approved rate. So I just want to keep that in mind. He is scheduled to go take his combination vehicle retest on the 22nd, I believe, find out what that happens. And then we need a truck and a vehicle to go take the test. Hopefully that'll secure any issues that we're having. But I am, as a department head, trying to do the best I can with what I've got.
No, we
So,
can see that.
I'm
No,
not
that's-
saying
I can see
I'm not
that.
saying that you're not, but we knowingly know what we're doing is wrong.
We wanna
Scott
make it
sat
right.
there one night and told us, he said, I have to look out for the town's sake legally. So right now I'm looking at the town at this point legally. So if it costs you a little more on your overtime, it costs you a little more. But I'd also look at it, the highway department's used that excavator. The water department charged the highway department for the excavator? No, I think Scott could work with you on this. Within the budget.
We'll make
Make
it
it
work.
work.
Yeah,
Make it
We'll
work.
make it
we
work.
don't charge them when you go help them snow plowing and stuff. At least we never have. It all works out in the wash somewhere.
We're all moving in the right direction.
Yep.
check and see what your truck's rated for, add up the trailer and excavator and see if it's rated with it.
It's just like me with my business. For that gooseneck, I gotta have a CDLA. It's not because of the weight. It's the length and the weight, because they combine all the weights together, puts me over 40,000 pound, even though I can only legally haul 25.9.
I could have sworn though, when we bought the F-350 diesel,
That's why I'm saying check.
that we went through this and we were all set. That's why we were doing it. Because when I presented it, I believe that was, where we were going with that
That was why we went with
situation.
the 350.
Anyway, that being said,
Because it was a
did
diesel
you
and
get
would
your
tow it better
A
for the
with your
drivetrain
truck and
and
trailer? Or
everything
did you have to take a big
I
truck?
already had my
covered that.
tractor trailer
I thought
license.
we
were-
I was getting ready
I
to
thought
get
we
rid
were
of it,
Right,
If I
kept
say
it,
back,
but now
check.
you can get it with my trailer hookup.
right. I think she could get it with the 1 ton in the trailer on the
She could
back.
get it with
You
the
guys
1
can
ton?
get your A license with that 1 ton and the trailer.
Yeah.
But it will have restrictions on it.
Just air
Just
brake
fine.
restriction,
Well, air brakes and
And
it'll have
pintle
other.
hitch.
pintle
Pintle
hitch,
hitch.
I think.
Yep.
Right.
All right, any more questions?
So I hope to see the bid specs come back for it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right now.
Um,
No,
They got,
still.
they got bands.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Water Bandstand Committee Water Ski Show invoice.
Since there's nobody else, the chairman can take this up. This is because I'm on the committee and the chairman is not available this evening. So this is just the same contract as last year and the year before. It's the same for the booking agreement for the amount for the ski show and the deposit. The amount of the ski show is a total of $23.50. And at this time, looking for the amount of the deposit, which is $350 to be approved.
So you're only looking for the 350.
Hmm.
You're only looking for the 350.
Only looking for the $350. Or we could approve the whole thing tonight, whichever the board would prefer.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we approve the 2350.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Are you only sending the 300 now? Or the
300
deposit, or you gonna send all of it?
350.
Because the way the board made this motion.
No, I
was
was gonna clarify that the
Money
350, yeah, the 350 would be sent now and the remaining balance after performance.
Right. Okay, I just wanted to
Yes,
clarify that.
and you are absolutely right. Thank you.
Moving on, culvert cleanup procedure. Bet we must be back on you. It's culverts. We might as well get you a chair here.
With his own name tag.
Yeah. I don't have any. See, paperwork on it.
I don't have anything.
No, we don't have.
We don't have anything for that.
I think what it was is last week when we talked about this, that they were going by with a pickup truck, blowing the.
Yes.
Blowing the
Is that what
ditches
this
out,
is?
blowing leaves back on people's lawns.
I
that
didn't
just hadn't
underst-
cleaned up.
I didn't understand that was the, that
I'm-
this was.
No, I'm assuming that's what it
I
is.
think you're right.
That we don't
That would
have
be
it.
my guess.
I don't know who put this in.
That's what I'm gonna
That
go
would be
with.
my guess.
I'm gonna go
Because
with that.
the town administrator did reach out to me and
Okay.
said that there had been a complaint made to
Yes.
a select board member
Yes, that was me.
relative to the leaf blowing. I thought it was the leaf blowing because we set up the leaf blowing. We fabricated a device in order to do that for the gravel roads. So we initially did that so we could go ahead and grade the gravel roads. We blew the leaves and pine needles off them, so you don't have to deal with fighting the battle of balling them up and trying to find a place to put them. So we got that set up. Previously, that's what I've done in the past to try to blow those off. So you can go ahead and grade them up best that you can that way and get the surfaces in good shape for winter. So we did utilize them along the curb in a few locations where there was in fact catch basins because of all the rain and wind that we had and everything had blown in there. And so I had the guys, I said, listen, I said, I had one guy available. I said, he had been going out with a backpack blower, actually, and blowing out the ends of where the catch basins are and getting the leaves out of them that were balled up in them so that they wouldn't clog up in the drainage itself. And I think the concern was that it would be nice to vac those up. I think they have been in the past. I know in the springtime, that's what they had done when they did the cleanup in the spring, that they had vacked them up according to the guys that way. But that was the reason for that, just getting them out of there so it wouldn't dam them up.
The way this was written, I didn't realize that this was the same,
Okay.
one and the same, yes, and I was the one who took the complaint.
Okay.
On that with a person that had just did yard cleanup, spent $150, the day before cleaning up the yard, and then received a phone call from his wife while he was at work and said the town is coming down the road and they're cleaning out, they're blowing leaves. They didn't say the culverts, they're blowing the leaves and they're blowing them right into the yard.
Okay.
So
So we won't do that anymore.
and that's what he was saying. He says, he says in the town, he's only been in this town a couple of years, and he was from another town in New Hampshire. And this is what they did there, where he was vacuum
Everybody blows them
system
out to the
and
street.
picked them up,
and
and they
suck
picked them
all
up.
up.
I know it's an ongoing battle.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing battle.
Yeah,
And-
we fight
but
the battle and I get it.
Yeah.
No problem there. And
I just told him I'd mention it and said that normally I wait until the leaves are all down before I clean up the yard.
Right.
And
Well-
he agreed. He says there's oak leaves are hanging in there longer than normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. No problem.
Sit on that. Okay. Thank you.
But
I thought we're doing a different procedure or something.
Yeah, no, that was nothing to do with what we talked about last week. Okay.
yeah.
Why, it didn't have anything to do with that?
No. The way this was written.
Oh, yeah. All right, moving on. Conservation has asked me, we're on number 6, has asked me, they have a lake host program. They would like to see if we would be willing to give it to Parks and Recs and maybe write a warrant article for some money to be put into a thing so they could hire people and work with the grant and some money to get the people for the boat launch to make sure that the boat's going in a clean.
Are they gonna send us a letter so I can read up on it? Well, yeah, a copy of that, but I won't give you my answer tonight.
That's what we got.
I know, but I'm not gonna give you my answer unless I have something to read on it and look at it.
I'll make you a copy.
But my only problem is Parks and Rec has their hands full now. I know you're saying hire someone. We haven't been able to hire anybody all summer.
Right.
Let alone now you're asking for a new position.
And my idea was to work with conservation, let them help her and get some of the volunteers in there. 'Cause we
Isn't that a
worked this
state
before
boat
with
launch?
volunteers.
No, the one at Land Ho is, the Land Ho one is the state launch. yes.
State, yeah, so it'll only
But
be.
the other one across the street is ours.
So it would be at,
We were-
beside Chibley's, that one. Yeah.
Would be both of them.
Right, because
Uh-huh.
But that wouldn't be us.
It's both
That's
of
not
them
on
they're
us.
see
talking.
through us, because
Both
it'll
programs.
all be coming through the lake host program.
So you're talking both launches?
Yes, because it would be coming through the lake host program.
Then the state should have something to do with
Right,
theirs.
that's what I'm saying. That's state property right there. That's not even us.
Well, the state helps grant the money for this lake host program. I will make copies and give them to you here in a minute.
Thank you.
Next is planning board. Planning board would like this board to approve this. It's the wording before they approve. No, I don't like any warrant article that has funds coming from the unassigned fund balance. I think it tricks the taxpayers into, you vote for it, because if that said taxation, you've got a chance of not making it. When it says not coming out of taxation, they check it off usually. And it's still coming, it's still the taxation money.
It's tax dollars.
Yes,
So can I ask?
I
what-
think it's just,
It's still a suggestion that was from,
Can I ask what the warrant article is?
oh, it's for your CIP.
Or is, am
Oh,
I
they
sitting
didn't-
here
no,
looking
master
at?
plan.
No, that was just handed to me to remind
Oh.
you.
Hang on, let me make a copy, please. Let me make some.
You already got this, right? What are you doing?
Yeah, we've already been doing it. This is an additional $9,000 that was being asked for to put on
Oh, okay.
a warrant article for
She's
continuance
making
of
copies.
things that are needed.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that this gets put on next week's meeting.
Second,
We haven't had the paperwork or even understand. I think the planning board should come and ask for it. Of course, unless you're asking
I'm
for
on
it.
the planning board.
Because you're
It's on the
rep.
planning board.
I'm on conservation. That's why I was elected.
I understand that, but it's more of a program than just asking us something. This is more, now they're asking.
Well,
for
I
more
thought-
This is a suggestion from, if I may, Mr. Chairman.
I thought we had copies out here, but she just
No,
received
this
it.
was,
money. Well, I'm saying that we talk about it
during
next
public
week's meeting.
input. This, if I may, this was proposed by the master plan committee in talking with Tara Bamford, who is doing the
It's done a great
doing the
job.
program. She's doing a fantastic job. It was a suggestion to her to only go with above and beyond, another $4,000 to $5,000 would be a lot for mailings, for a little bit more, getting volunteers involved and getting more paperwork that would be needed to continue
To do what it was.
the work. And she actually thought it would be a less amount. We as a board decided to go to $9,000. She was satisfied with $4,000 to $5,000. We actually thought going a little bit more than that, to ask to make sure there'd be enough monies to cover what was taken care of. Okay, and because it was written in here, it says no amount to be raised from taxation.
Comes from the. fund.
Virgil had a comment about that.
Yeah, I had the same issue last year.
Yes.
And I don't know if we can change that wording.
Laura?
Can I
Yeah,
speak
go
on
ahead.
this? So when this was brought to my attention, it was really just the planning board is confused on if they can even approve it as a planning board to come to the board because of the wording of the no taxation, which my opinion is that is the board's recommendation, whether it's paid from, but this warrant article could be approved by the planning board as written, because you can change that portion. They're just recommending an article. These are
Exactly.
technically your articles. So when it comes in front of the board for approval, you can change it to be funded however you
We
want.
can't change a warrant article's writing. That's put in from somebody else.
These are your warrant articles. You can't change petitions. All the other warrant articles are technically the Board of Selectmen articles. Department heads are recommending these projects to you to be warrants.
Which I was trying to say the other night, is yes, we have changed the
Mhm.
wording in some cases. We
This
have.
could
we
be,
have.
this could be written,
We've written,
How much money will be left over from last year's warrant article?
How much money will be left over?
Correct.
Don't think there'll be anything.
nothing. They're gonna-
This is gonna be, her contract will be full and already taken care of. This would be in addition to, because this is gonna take up to 2023.
By the end of this year, they said that her money's gonna be gone.
Yes. Her money.
That's why they want to put this in there, because they want to do chapter 5 and 6 on the master plan.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend that this come before the Board of Selectmen when all other warrant articles come before the Board of Selectmen from the town administrator and department heads. And we discuss it then.
can I speak, Mr.
Mm-hmm.
Chairman?
It's gonna be, time's gonna be an issue.
So again, I think all the planning department is looking for is for approval from the board that you can change this so they can move forward.
So we can.
Whether you want it or not is not even an
They
option
should, they
today.
should be submitting it to the town administrator anyways to have it brought before the Board of Selectmen with all the other warrant articles.
I believe they're told at the meeting that
It has
they,
to go in front of
The planning board.
first to be approved. Then it comes up. They got, Jessica came upstairs and wrote it with Liz. I disagreed last night with taking it out of the unassigned fund balance.
Exactly. The planning board needs
So
to
take,
approve
so
this
take the
first.
funding out, have the planning board take the funding out, and let the Board of Selectmen decide how it'll be funded.
But they can submit it like this. The planning board can approve it like that, and it might not be raised, it might be raised, it might not.
And we make the decision.
We make the decision later, but this is just a question or not whether the planning board can accept this. And as far as we're concerned, yes, they can.
The planning board can write the warrant article, not a problem, and
Yeah.
approve it. Then it comes
So
down
they
to
can
the Board of
accept it, and then it
Selectmen.
comes to us.
Then we.
That's what they
review it.
wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
That's it. You don't have to
That's
vote
it.
on anything. They just wanted to get
thank
that
you.
clear.
Thank you for clarifying it. And that's the way I felt that it would come to this after the planning board anyway.
Loon Cove Road status update.
Supposedly, I was out of town today at the New Hampshire Municipal Conference, but I was contacted last night by the paver. He was scheduled to come in today and take the bump out. So I haven't been down.
I have.
Did you go down, ride over it? Is the bump still there or is it
I
gone?
just tell you what, don't use this paper again.
Okay,
The bump's gone. But when you're going over it, you're still going over it like this. And that's at 20 miles an hour. Now, granted, it's a town road, it's a sub base. That's fine.
Mhm.
I just can't believe that these are professionals paving this bridge. Okay, just GMI out here did a fabulous job. I have no problem with that. But this, you go over it and you still feel like you're on marbles. They did 2 patches. In my opinion, no, I'm not happy. If it was my driveway, I'd tell them to come back and dig it out again and try to do it, the whole thing over. You got 1 patch when you first come on, you got another patch on the other side. Why not just take up the whole thing, relay it? I know that's a cost involved for them, but if that was my driveway, I wouldn't pay them. There's just a couple other things I like to bring up, but it has nothing to do with the paving.
okay.
But I'll let you look at it. Maybe I'm overreacting, but I just, it's not much better than it was before.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I personally drove down that road myself, not since the second paving. I believe that's the base coat.
It's
It
a
is.
single course, they call it.
And is there plans to put a finish coat on it?
That'll be spring if
It
anything.
would be when that whole road is actually done down to the end. I mean, there's no doubt that there needs to be some paving that is
Mhm.
done overall through that neighborhood down there along with 11D.
But If we
Needs to
put
be
the base
looked at.
coat on, usually we go back in spring and put the top coat
I
on.
wouldn't be able to put a top coat on. They'd have to dig that out to put it. do a new
Yeah, you'd
coat.
have to-
Because of the height.
You have to
They're gonna have
overlay
to
it.
go into further down the road to put a coat
Right.
in,
Right.
because it's level right with the old road.
Yeah, you would have to
It is.
overlay.
It's-
it.
You have to
level.
mill it. You gotta mill the joints and tie them in. Yeah.
But even if this is a sub base coat, it's still lousy. I mean, I would not accept that in my own driveway. Why would I allow it to be accepted by the town? That's all I'm saying.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I drove over it and I didn't have that serious a problem.
I didn't say it was a serious problem, but it wasn't a good job.
I have to say, I haven't gone over it since it was redone. I haven't. And I did go over it like you did. I went over it 20 miles an hour. I went over it, heading into Loon Cove Road, towards the cul-de-sac. Went in that way. I felt a little bit of a bump and I turned around, come back out and it was pretty smooth on the way back. I didn't think it was devastating.
It's not devastating. All I'm saying is $287,000, you come up with not a good top coat. And all I'm saying is the road that has been paved for 10 years is smoother than the new base coat that got put on. Why? That's all I'm asking.
Well, there's no doubt, there's a challenge whenever you pave in between 2 paved surfaces.
I
unless you-
understand that, sir.
And so, I mean, I'm
They
not trying
probably
to
could've
make
done a better
excuses up. I want to have, I always like to have nice pavement and everything smooth and those types of things. And, you know, I was there when they paved and I saw, you know, what happened there. And anytime you end up having paving situations that end up happening, we end up having a paver that dips down off of the pavement and comes onto the gravel surface and then comes back up. We gotta have somebody that's working the screw on the screed pretty fast in order to keep up with it and the recoil in order to have that happen. I feel that that's probably what happened. The other piece of it is, you know, it is what it is. I can certainly go back to the paver and and see what he can do on that.
No, I'm the only one complaining, sir. So if the other four here are fine with it, let it go.
I mean, there's no doubt. I mean,
No,
I know,
I-
I know that there's a
I
bump
don't,
there. 'cause
I don't
saw
want you to
it, but-
feel that way. I
Oh,
mean,
no.
it should be right. I just didn't go over it.
I just don't understand with all the new equipment, technology we got today, lasers and everything else, they can't do a better job. That's all I'm saying.
I think a lot of it has to do too, also, is trying to find somebody to pave it at this time of year.
Right.
You-
That was
you
one,
pay- you
that was
get-
the biggest thing.
You get what you can get to at least get it, and if we gotta top it in the spring, we gotta top it in the spring.
I can
Are
only
we on
imagine,
You can
are we
fix
on
that.
schedule to do the whole road or just that over the bridge?
no, if I can find any money to do it,
Mhm.
it'll only be to do over that bridge. It won't be to do the whole.
Right.
You
bridge.
can mill joints on both ends of that
Oh,
bridge and
sure.
fix that in 2 passes.
Yeah, 1 inch overlay will end
Would
up
fix it.
curing that, no problem at all. But once
that
again,
part of the road
I would
really
not want to do that this year, to be honest with you.
No.
I would not do it this year in order to make that happen.
Plus you wanna make- settle in
I
around.
can only imagine what the bill's gonna be for the paving that was done out here on
Mhm.
Main Street and just because of the time of the year.
Yep.
Didn't end up.
So we'll put that on for the spring, summer.
That's when I would do
Mhm.
do that, correct?
If you're gonna pave it, you better do it tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow's the last day, believe me.
Final snow.
Yeah.
We'll be in the 70s by Friday.
Really? Those will be 60s. tomorrow.
Church Street, School Street, status
Wait a minute, if
update.
I can go back to Loon Cove. So Scott, when I went down there today, I had one of the residents come over and talk to me about one end of the culvert facing the lakeside.
Yep.
You got a piece of culvert sitting up just about like that right at the very end.
Yep.
So when they come next summer, when there's some kids up there swimming, if he slips and falls, or even if they're fishing, you have a sharp point that could go right through somebody. I didn't know if we could look at that. Maybe take care of that before spring. On the west side of the culvert facing Route 11, it looks like part of that culvert, you got pulled when they were taking it off.
You got what?
I can meet with you down there and show you, but it's bending out this way. So when that water comes through that main culvert come this spring, when the water is at its highest point, it's going to wash in underneath the edge of that culvert and undermine part of that road, I think, because it's already being bent over.
Okay.
And so what it's going to do is
So
block
what,
your flow a
the
little bit.
culvert that's remaining in the ground.
Yes, sir.
See, the contractor took quite a bit of steps actually to pin that culvert all back in. Now granted, that's beyond the actual bridge itself. It's
Mhm.
probably out at the very end. Is that where it
It's
is?
right at the very end. And this, when looking at it, if I'm looking across that this way, towards Route 11, it's the right-hand side. You can see where it's been twisted out a little bit. And the problem is it's sitting right coming out of the big culvert where that water level is going to come out. It's going to hit that, keep pushing that way. The water is going to start going in between the culvert and the land. And I'm just afraid that will start undermining some of that work there for you. Because I don't think anybody here knows or the intensity of that water that comes out of that culvert down there.
There's a reason it's that size.
You see that culvert only have about a 6 inches clearance on that main culvert coming through. There isn't much room left. I'm just afraid it's just going to keep bending it because there's more rot. They didn't go quite down to the water line.
Right. They had to stay
They're
up
above
above
the
it
water
because
line about
it's
that.
rotted on the bottom.
And on the top,
I think
and
the whole cover get replaced.
you got a whole,
That cost you $1 million.
Billions of dollars.
yeah. Because the
We're
EPA,
either 276 or we're $1 million.
I don't know. Mr. Biden just came and gave all that money. Mr. Biden just came, gave all that money. Manchester got 25 million.
We ought to put in for lead pipe removal.
The contractor had to leave today. It was too cold and they're coming back to overlay tomorrow.
Are they? Okay.
Straighten out.
All right, great.
Oh,
Thank you.
They milled both sides, both ends, and did 5 tons, so.
Okay.
But it was too cold and it's gonna be beautiful tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
To know. Thank you.
Take your corner.
Fair enough.
All right, moving on from Lone Cove. All right, Church Street, School Street.
all the work's been completed down there.
Now that's completed. For them to put parking spots across driveways. I mean, I don't understand. where these
You
people-
approved a driveway. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, but you
No, no,
approved
no,
the
wait a
driveway.
minute. That driveway was there and they got it across the funeral home driveway too.
There's
Don't
no-
say I approved the driveway. That driveway's been there 50 years. We told you to go put the damn thing back in.
I did put it in.
Yeah, pretty shitty job too.
Well, I,
Put it in and you put it in, you put a 4-inch lip on it and put loam behind it.
yeah, Mr. Chairman, I beg to differ with you. And I take you to task with that. Anytime you'd like to go down there and walk around and take a look
I
at
have.
it. And I spent considerable amount of time down there. First of all, I don't appreciate being hollered at. And I will tell you, you did approve that driveway. I did not approve that driveway. That driveway was not on the plan. You
That
approved the,
driveway's been there
excuse
over
me,
50 years.
I'm trying to finish here. Okay, we've been around and around about this driveway. I put the driveway back in as directed by the Board of Selectmen. Okay, that driveway was not a gravel driveway. That was a loamed lawn. It was not even a driveway. So let's be clear about that. Okay, don't holler and point
We
fingers and
coulda
be
added
upset
a-
at me.
We could have added a yard of loom to make it decent.
I'm not going to add any more loom to it because we did
No.
not do anything with that driveway.
Because you didn't want to put it back in. That's why you didn't add it to it.
I didn't put it back in because it's not on the plan.
It either. It's against the law.
It's not against the
It
law.
is
The
against the
driveway
law,
was there.
Virgil. It's against the law to have a driveway without a permit. I don't care if it's
How
grandfathered.
many driveways we got in this town without permits? How many?
I'm gonna go put a driveway down on the bottom side of my hill, up my hill, because it was grandfathered there 50 years ago.
Put it in.
Excuse me.
Point of order, Mr.
If you're
Chairman.
using that driveway right along.
Mr. Chairman, point of order. I'd like to table this discussion because it's getting a little bit too heated here.
Second.
And I think it's gone too far. Make a motion to table this item for another evening.
Second.
That was great. Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you, folks.
Benefits, benefits budget. Get in.
So you have your new BMSI sheet for your benefits now that you have chosen, an insurance company. Based on there's 2 option plans. It is an estimate for the first year, not knowing who is going to pick what plan. So I did a 70-30 split. 70% of the employees, I'm guessing, might stay with the original plan and 30%, and that's how I did it. Just so you knew.
Laura, what is this staff recruiting?
That's when you put the ads in the paper for staff, like the Parks and Rec and plan, like any of the departments that need.
They have that in their budgets.
Some of them are not, though.
A lot of money. It is. But you know, there are the benefits.
So Laura, you're asking for us to approve 8.5 section of the benefits chapter. Is that what you're looking for?
Right now, we're looking at the budget part. We're not looking at the employee handbook
yeah,
part yet.
All right, I was looking at the budget.
I was with you. I was
He
lost.
said benefits, so that's why I was at the benefits on that one. Sorry.
Right now, we're doing the number portion.
Yeah. 2,305,000.
Yes.
You see that? Oh, yeah, yeah. 2 million, yeah, right in front of you.
Oh,
2,300,000.
Discussion.
This is the total operating budget, correct?
For the benefits.
benefits.
The
So
benefits.
the biggest increase in this is your New Hampshire retirement system then. You're going from 257 to 325 because your health insurance actually went down.
Hmm.
Way we looked at it the other night. insurance was going down because of the two proposals. So actually your increase is the police retirement system and the New Hampshire retirement system, because they never budgeted it right?
They both almost doubled.
So it's not really just, it's not the benefits, more the retirement system because of the state of New Hampshire.
Right, the retirement went up in July, so this will be a full year of the increase. Yep.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the operating budget of benefits of $2,305,578.
I'll second that.
What's comments, questions?
So we agree.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Because the only thing I like to say on that, because we stayed with the original healthcare that we had through Primex, we would have been paying over 1.2 million versus 1.186.
This is where that new stimulus money is gonna come out of here.
Auction 2021. Sign tour assignment. Last time I was chose twice so far on auctions and they always signed it. They took it and sent it to Jim.
But Liz's memo said that she needs a BOS member to commit for Saturday for the auction on the 4 properties and for one to be allowed to sign the documents.
All right, I was gonna ask about that.
I think last year we had 2 selectmen.
There was 2.
Before it was just me.
Last year was you and I, year before. You and I were here.
I'm gonna be there anyways.
You're gonna be here?
I might be busy. Well, my wife.
Well, you could be here.
But if you win the bid, you can't sign it.
No,
It's at 11 or 10?
Nope, registration opens at 9. Liz, the auctioneer, and the town attorney will be here at 8:30, and the auction starts at 10.
Maybe we're speaking.
I can't make it.
I won't be here Saturday.
I can leave the store to come down and sign the paperwork for you,
Okay.
but I can't be sitting in the.
You gonna be
audience.
here?
and I'll be there, but I
I'm
probably,
gonna try to make it, but I
I don't
doubt
think
I
I'll buy
can.
any.
You're not buying anything?
I know we just said.
It's awfully close.
Yeah, but I might be bid. but-
Talk about transparency. Wow.
Oh, I'm just trying to.
I can leave the store.
You
If
can
you
throw a
call
rock
me
to it.
half hour before it ends, I can come down and do that and leave my help for at least the 3 hours,
Starts at
for an
10.
hour.
Starts at 10, so by 10:15, they should have everything sold.
Okay.
There isn't that much.
No, they own 5 properties, so
Don't
take
But
Gene
I
long.
checked with the town
But yeah,
attorney.
don't take Gene
He
long to rattle them
led
out.
me to believe that if my wife did the bidding,
Your wife's bidding? Your wife's bidding?
yeah.
But don't call my cell phone, call the store phone. Because my cell phone will be out in the back room.
Okay, call the store. Okay,
I mean, if push comes to shove, if neither one of them come, I will be working, but I could stop and come down if I have to.
If you want, just send an officer down with the lights on and say he's got to come with me now. And that would be a good conversation
There
for
you
the
go.
town and bring me
When
back to
that
town
goes-
hall.
They go through town like wildfire.
Ruben was arrested.
All right, Selectmen's report.
there's too many papers.
Oh,
Yes, the other evening at the planning board meeting, which is the 16th, the ZAC committee presented all of the warrant article amendments and were approved for the amendments and the warrant articles. So those will be coming to us. And that's about all I have right now.
I have nothing. Town administrator reports.
Okay, so we need another BOS representative for the interviews for the highway foreman / manager position that Scott's going to be doing. He would like a board member on the panel. Those will take place during the day. And Scott, correct me if I don't have my brain, on either 11:23 or 11:30. He hasn't decided yet. 11:30.
Say 11:23, is he serving turkey?
Okay, so it's on 11:30. So I need a board rep that's offering to sit on that panel.
That's during the day?
Yes.
I'll do it. I'll do it if you want me to.
I can't.
How many days is it gonna?
I think it's just one day. Yeah,
What's the date?
11:30.
30.
Of the 11th at 11:30.
No,
November 30th.
December 30th.
Okay, I'm hearing both of you.
It's on a-
Thursday.
Yeah, yeah. I can do it if I need to.
Nope, it's a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday, yeah.
That's probably last year's calendar. I don't know what you're looking at.
December, I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah,
trying
you're
to
on the
push
wrong-
this month away.
I'm so confused.
Brock only wants 2 meetings next month, so I'm trying to push it away.
Yeah, well,
You wanna do it?
Is it
yeah, I'll
Friday
do
yet?
it. I'll do it. That's fine.
So Brock will do it.
It'll be Brock.
Perfect. Thank you.
Is Dockside still open?
I hope so.
Okay, so what else I have is, you do have in front of you the benefits part of the employee handbook that I need you to approve.
Yeah, that's the one I was just, that's where we were. I'm sorry.
The red section we changed because of the new plans. So we just added the, changed the wording a little bit to match what the plan program is.
You're looking for a motion to approve that?
Yes, so I can get these handbooks out to
Two
the
yeses.
staff. Yes. Please.
Mr. Chairman, after everybody reads it, I do make a motion to approve section 8.5.
I don't have that. I don't have it.
You should have one at your desk. Do you want mine?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know I have one. I just don't know where it is. I just looked at it. Yeah, I know, Ruben, I know. I know. We were.
Anyways, as I was saying, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, once everybody's ready, to approve section 8.5 of the benefits of chapter 8.
8.5, I see it.
That's the one we discussed.
We already
That's the one we-
discussed it
Yep, we've discussed.
extensively.
Yeah.
Extensively.
I'll second
Extensively.
that.
Okay,
Well, I got a
a total
question. though,
rewrite.
Because on your health savings account and health reimbursement account, paying 50% first on one and not on the other.
Right. Because one they might not use at all. So you don't want to, you can't pay it up front if they're not going to utilize it. It's paid directly to the
Well, a
employee.
health reimbursement account, if they choose it.
Yep.
Choose it, we don't put that money in an account for them to.
Not for the health reimbursement, no.
Okay.
Because it's reimbursed what they spend and the premium's higher, so they're getting a higher premium.
Four 57 was set up for department heads and stuff. 457 plan. Set one up for department heads years ago.
457 for everybody.
So we offer how many retirement plans to everybody?
And there's 3 or 4.
Well, I had a problem when we started off from, because we're paying social security begin with, we're paying the Hampshire retirement system, then we went into another, Mr. Bailey did this. Mr. Bailey, it's got that is to do with the Board of Selectmen to get that extra retirement
That
plan.
457 supposed to be set up for department heads. Just add it into the plan.
Mr. Chairman, we're only looking at 8.8 right now, not the rest of the benefit on that.
Right, I just gave you the whole chapter. So you know what chapter it's in, but the red is the only thing I'm changing.
That's the only thing that was changed.
Yes. The other stuff
That's
is
all you
on.
need the approval on.
Yeah.
just the red.
Yeah, the 8.5, right?
There's already been a motion and a second, right?
Second, yep.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Thank you.
Approval of minutes, October 25th, 2021.
I have one concern with the minutes.
Okay,
I was not here. And on page 2, halfway down, motion made by Virgil. And the vote was called 4 affirmative and 1 abstention. So I mean, I wasn't here, so it should be 3 affirmative.
Ruben had both hands up, one for you, one for him.
Oh, okay. Oh, they should just change that to 3.
All right. Questions?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as
Amended.
amended.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstained, Mr. Chairman.
November 1st, 2021.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the Alton Board of Selectmen minutes for November 1st.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstained, Mr. Chairman.
Non-public, November 1st, 2021.
I make a motion to approve the non-public session November 1st, 2021, and not to divulge.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain again, Mr. Chairman.
Now we have consent agenda. I have a question for you, Laura,
Oh, gosh. Okay.
on one on consent agenda. By effective 7/2. Did it take this long to get to us? That we're going back a few months?
No, it should be 11/16.
So it's effective 11/16,
I would think so,
not
yes.
7/2.
I wouldn't think it's effective.
Well, I'm just
Haven't got.
wondering why we
He's
going
new.
back so far.
Is that when he trained? That's when he got his license. 7/2.
It took this long to get to us?
Yep.
Oh, we have the chief right there. We have a quick question for you.
That's the answer. You see that,
I'm pretty sure I know exactly what you're talking about.
Trevor?
It just took that long to get his license in hand.
Oh.
Yeah, we didn't have the paperwork to back it up.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Sure. I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, next. Discretionary. 5, discretionary action or request for appointments. John Julius, map 10, lot 28 and 28A agreement. Altmont Road. July 31st, 2019, agreement of work was drawn. Map 10. Various drain issues affecting the property owner. Hill Pond in the town of Alton. As of today, this work has not yet been scheduled.
See, Mr. Chairman, that is the area that came in discussion the last 2 years, and I think permits and everything were still being decided. Maybe Scott could come up and talk a little more about it, but this also has to do with that
Know
boat
about
ramp
this one?
area.
With the, yeah. If they don't want anybody to use, right? No one.
That they weren't letting anybody use.
They
but
changed the river, wasn't it? The brook or
Changed the
something?
brook, the
Yeah.
runoff, yes.
Yeah, so this was that wetlands violation and correcting the course of the river. You did approve $5,500, I think it was, for Stony Ridge Environmental to do the permitting and start that work. And Cindy was notified and given that information. She did get back to us, and I did report back to Mr. Chalinas in regards to that. She basically has been swamped through the summer months when it was approved by the board. And then I did email her on Monday. I think it was Monday when Stacy and the town administrator both advised me of the request coming before the board and asked her for an update, but I haven't, I didn't get anything back as of tonight's meeting for any kind of an update. So
this is probably like everything, everybody's just out straight.
yeah, and once again, we're unfortunately, it's not something that we can embark on anything until we have those permits and the direction and guidance from the DES on this. This is a sensitive situation.
Mhm.
And I understand, everybody's frustrated because nobody knows how it happened and what caused it, who did it, and everything. We're just trying to correct it.
And it probably wouldn't be an issue if it wasn't for the ramp that was there, because nobody would have said anything about this. But this all ties into that ramp.
All into that boat ramp.
It wasn't until it was discovered there was town property there, and that's when all this was discovered. So I would say, Mr. Chairman, we give him 5 minutes to come in, ask questions, have Scott here, and Scott can answer. We kind of know it. We're just waiting on permits.
Yeah.
Can't do anything until then.
And I have maintained pretty good contact with him throughout this. I think he just wants to, be able to voice to the board that he's just kind of frustrated and like to see
What's gonna happen?
he wants to make sure that it doesn't, be
Push it
forgotten.
back, yeah. Yeah, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Second.
Favor?
Aye. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott. There's a quick input, 5 minutes. 5 minutes per person on government, town business.
Good evening,
Hey, Kelly.
Kelly Sullivan. Just a couple of things. I'll keep it brief. I really didn't want to bring it up after earlier discussion, but I had been leaving the post office the other day. I happened to be in one of the dump trucks, and with the new sidewalk at the exit of the post office and the parking space that was created directly across the way, and the Alton Veterinary Clinic, when there's somebody pulling off of Main Street down School Street and then exiting the post, that whole area, if somebody's parked there, seems really tight, especially if you're in a bigger vehicle. So I was just kind of throwing that out there. Because that curb is so much higher now on the right when you leave the post office if you're taking a right. So you really have to make sure you pull out in order to clear it. It's not, low clearance anymore. So not a big deal, but maybe something to look at, because traffic can be really clustered right there, especially during certain times of day. Just listening to a couple of things tonight. Mr. Kinman had spoken about the road system implementation. And while I do agree we should take it, put it out to bid, I do also think we should take into consideration that the one he looked at would work and marry into what the water department currently uses. And that would be beneficial to the town. So when weighing cents, dollars and cents, we need to keep that in mind, because it's not really comparing apples to apples, so to speak. As far as the machine for the water department, I don't think anybody's going with the cat, but generally I have cat equipment, and generally it's kind of like owning a Sony. So when you talk about attachments, I was curious if the attachments that we have currently for the Bobcat, we could use with the Yamaha that has been recommended. I know when our cat equipment, that we can't really interuse other piece of equipment. And depending on what that is, I know for cat, trying to rent an attachment is the kind of going away from it. They want you to rent the whole machine with the attachment, things like that. So I
I think Cat's the only one that like has their own.
Yeah, I kind of know that. It's like owning a Sony. That's why I said that. I get that.
There's a lot of the other
And-
companies are all interchangeable.
Right, and that's why I prefaced that, but I just was curious because if we do have attachments for the Bobcat, obviously, obviously we want the warranty, but if we have attachments for the equipment, you know, like we want to be able to use those. And then the master plan, that warrant article was only brought here tonight exactly because of the wording. Jessica did work with Liz on that warrant article. We were hoping to pass it at the planning board meeting. Virgil did have a problem with the wording, and that is why it was brought here, which we settled. Yep, I just wanted to clarify though, that was the only reason why it came tonight. We were hoping to settle it at the planning board meeting.
Then that's why after clarification with
Yes.
Laura, that
Yep, and
we see it after that. And
Yep.
it just needed approval.
Yep, and then after the planning board meeting the other night, when we were in fact talking about the warrant article, and Virgil did take issue, and I don't mean to single you out, but kind of, because you did take issue, you kind of get flustered, and then there's all this off-topic discussion, and then it's the willy-nilly fund of
My problem.
the willy-nilly fund of the Board of Selectmen, so to speak, when it's taken out of certain funds, utilized in a different location, even though it's all taxable dollars. And then tonight, with the Church Street and School Street issues, I would just like to call to attention that for public participation, under number 1, letter E, that all speakers, when you're a public person, you are to conduct themselves in a civil manner, and then it subsequently, if you do not follow these rules. So I would just like to take into consideration, maybe to try to not fluster so easily, simply because it's disrespectful. And it really hinders people wanting to come and interact. I am a completely volunteer person. I have lived here for 17 years. I have volunteered every one of those 17 years. I don't do it because I want recognition. I usually do it in a quiet manner in different areas. But that being said, it is difficult to get volunteers to come out or people to participate. I've been trying to come to a couple of more meetings. I've been to a handful of planning board meetings. And I usually stress at all the meetings, especially if there is public people from the public there, that they should get involved. So that hinders that. So I'm just asking that we try to keep that at a minimum. Thank you.
Good luck with that.
Before Kelly goes, I would like to bring up one mention we have on the agenda, maybe for the next meeting or 2 meetings, to think about a no parking sign from the exit of the post office to the stop sign on the veterinarian side. Because there's still parking there. So if you get cars parking there, parking on that side, someone's trying to turn in, it's holding up traffic. So I think one side needs to have no parking.
I think we
that
should have Scott go look at it and make sure everything.
I just think it's something we should look at, because a couple of residents have said something to me on it. I meant to bring it up tonight, and I didn't.
Few people
It's
have.
tight right there.
It is. And more people drive larger vehicles now more than ever.
Oh, yes.
So I
Yeah,
just,
we're going the other way now with them.
yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. So,
Go figure
Okay.
with the gas prices.
thank you.
Thank you.
We'll all be driving Volkswagens.
All right, any more public input? Seeing none, I will make a motion that we go into non-pub. The RSA 91-A:3:2,
Second. Thank you. Good evening.